What's going on, and welcome to the Drunk 3PO channel. I just finished the latest episode of the Clone Wars, episode 11, Shattered. And I'm going to do some spoiler-free thoughts at the beginning and then get into some spoilers. So right off the bat, I just turned off the episode, so you're getting my first thoughts. I got to tell you, this probably was my favorite episode of all time in the Clone Wars. It's got to be my favorite episode. The music, the score, the setting, the tone, everything was just like wow. And believe me, they tap into the episode 3 nostalgia, whatever you want to call it. Now, I've said this many times before, and a lot of people criticize or whatever, but episode 3 has always been my favorite Star Wars film. It has always been, for me, that was the movie that just set the original trilogy and the prequel. It just connected everything together, and I just loved episode 3. So if you loved episode 3, this episode is just going to pull you in my opinion. I loved it. I actually watched it twice, back to back. I went back and watched it again because of the nostalgia feels, or whatever you want to call it. I thought it was incredible. The music and everything, the tone that was set, I thought it was incredible. And I thought the story was great as well. And I guess I'm going to get into some spoilers. So before that, I give this best episode of the Clone Wars I've ever seen. There it is. So now let's get into some spoilers. So the episode takes place right where the last one left off. Ahsoka has Darth Maul captured, on Mandalore, and so she goes in and she goes to report to the council. Now the council is meeting, and they recreate the scene from episode 3 where Mace Windu is talking to Yoda and just basically saying, we're gonna have to, if the Chancellor doesn't give up his powers, we're gonna have to take over, and the Jedi Order is gonna have to run till we get this all figured out. And when the movie of episode 3, when that scene is cut, it cuts with Yoda kind of looking off. This Clone Wars episode picks up right where that movie left off, with Ahsoka coming in saying, "Captured Darth Maul. This is what's happening." And Mace Windu was just kind of like, "All right." And she goes, I did it as a citizen. I didn't do it as a Jedi. And so she starts to ask a little questions, and Darth Maul's like, what we're talking about is just for the the Jedi Order. They let Ahsoka know that Obi-Wan has engaged, in his fight there that happened on episode 3. And so that all that from episode 3 was happening. I guess Obi-Wan was riding his little lizard there, going after Grievous when Ahsoka's talking to them, and they let Ahsoka know that Anakin has left to go see Palpatine. Now, if we remember the movie episode 3, he goes, and this is when Palpatine confronts him and lets him know who he is. Tells him, I'm the Darth Sith Lord, and oh my gosh, it's all there. So then Ahsoka's like, all right, I'm gonna bring the prisoner back, and I'll talk to Anakin when I get there. Ahsoka does not. She looks like she wants to tell Yoda what Darth Maul told her in the previous episode, and she kind of hesitated. And the Clone War, the Rex was like, you don't want to tell him? You don't want to tell him? She's like, I don't know yet. So they're in the ship and they're heading out. And all of a sudden, the Force shifts. She starts hearing, Anakin betray Mace Windu. That whole scene where Mace has the Emperor beaten and Anakin rescues Palpatine and becomes, Darth Vader. And that scene, the voices and everything, Maul senses it, Ahsoka senses it, and even at that time too, it was like Yoda. He was on Kashyyyk. He was kind of like everything was feeling this rupture in the Force. So Ahsoka feels it, and then it happened, and then Rex and they go back and they are like execute Order 66, and it was hard for him to try to kill, but he does what he tries to do. He tries to kill, and there's just some amazing cinematography scenes with Ahsoka defending herself, running away from the clones, trying to figure out what's going on. She then releases Darth Maul and doesn't give him his lightsaber, but it's like, I'm not joining you. You're just going to be my distraction while I figure out what's going on. So good luck. And they give Darth Maul a scene like they gave Darth Vader in Rogue One. So there's a lot of Rogue One references in this episode, excuse me. So Maul's going down the corridor. He doesn't have his lightsaber, but he uses the Force. I mean, listen, he decapitates a couple people, gets their arms cut off. It's very reminiscent of Vader in Rogue One when Vader's walking down at the end when he ignites the saber and takes out all those people. It's very reminiscent of that. So, but he just uses the Force, and he's like using pieces of metal from the wall and like does his thing. He does what Darth Maul does. Ahsoka then figures out, she talks to some like R2 units, figures out that the clones all have a chip that makes them turn on all the Jedi. She goes and saves her friend, and while she's trying to like battle the clone army in this ship, and she saves Rex, and it's just like she's like, I don't know what to do. So while all this is happening in your mind, for me, it's like I'm like living out episode 3, like what's going on in episode 3. As we speak, Darth Vader was just now formed. Anakin's probably on his way to kill all the younglings. Like all this is happening, and I loved it. I'm not gonna lie, I loved it. I thought I gotta say, man, I think out of every single thing that Disney has given us with Star Wars, this has to be my favorite. I personally don't think any of the episode 3 lore was changed. Maybe I need to rewatch it and understand. I think when Filoni is working alongside Lucas's creation and just tries to complement it, that's where this is where he's at his best. My thoughts on Filoni were on a video later where what they did in the sequel trilogy and stuff. So that's just for another time. But I love this episode. I thought it was fantastic, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Well, the crazy thing is that these last 4 episodes should have just been it. Like, I don't even understand like why they gave us like all those other episodes. Like, were they just like giving like young directors or creators just something to do? Because they have nothing to do with the story, and they're very boring, to be honest. Like the first 2 episodes were kind of cool with like that that Clone War unit that were like the Misfits, whatever that I don't even remember. That's just where I'm at. And then where Ahsoka's with those other girls, I didn't even watch those. I skipped them because everyone's just said they're boring. And but these last 4, my gosh, the score, the cinematography, the story, it's right in the middle of episode 3, I thought were fantastic. I'm sorry, I thought they were fantastic. And I'm actually excited to see the last episode to see what happens. So anyway, that's the video. If you've seen the episode, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. This is Jay with the Joint 3PO channel. If you're new here, subscribe, like, do all that fun stuff. And I will catch you next time.